Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Breath Hub at Work. We have another beautiful, brilliant guest today. I'm still having problems with your name. Maybe you should spell your name, Wojciech.
Almost there. Wojtek, yeah, it's a
Wojtek, yeah, Wojtek.
common Polish name, but it's difficult to pronounce.
Yeah, welcome. You're a director in business development, and you've been working with mental health and helping people around mental health. Would you like to start with your story? How did you get here?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, first of all, Evish, for inviting me, and hi everyone who join us or who are gonna watch us. When it comes to my short story, I finished actually political sciences and economics back in Poland. It was, I think, maybe it was 13 years ago, and then I started my trip, with my journey with Asia. I went to work in Asia in the IT industry in Thailand. I spent there 1 year, came back to Europe, still was working in the IT industry, this time in the Czech Republic, in Prague. So I would say first my 5 or 6 years of the professional career was very strictly connected with IT, with sales, with business development, IT companies. However, back in 2014, I got a huge problem because I went through the burnout. And it was a very interesting topic because, very often we take care of our body, but forget to take care of our minds and our emotions. So in my case, I was very fit. I was exercising. I was playing football, but I was not taking care of my mental health. So one day, I remember spring, I just woke up, and I couldn't stood up. I just go to work. Something was wrong. So it was a burnout. So it was back 10 years ago. But from that moment started my trip, my journey with mental health. Also being in Asia, in many times in many countries, I spent like 5 years of my life. I had the chance to meet a lot of people, to learn a lot of techniques connected with breathwork, meditation. So in the same time, I was working in IT industry, and at the same time, I was developing my skills in that matter. And since 4 years, I'm working with employees from different international corporations, helping them with mental health, mainly with stress, with burnout, through breathing. And during the last 4 years, I had a chance to work with around 8,000 employees around the world. So
wow, that number is amazing. That number is a really high number. Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I suppose, I suppose people who are interested in breath work or who know the power of, breathing already know that, to manage our emotions, to manage our emotional state, we need to learn how to manage our breathing. So you're probably working. And in Asia, it's like very interesting because in the European culture, I think we misunderstood health or what health means. And many people think health means physical health. And we see that a lot in the European culture, in the Western world, in the world where performance is very important. And we somehow forget that health is actually emotional, mental, physical, even spiritual health combined. And when you don't have one of them, you can't have the other. And I think what you said around that is very important. Like you were very healthy and fit, but because of your emotional state, things started going wrong. And I think people in Asia do understand the importance of holistic health. That's why they are, practicing Tai Chi and Qigong and yoga and breathing exercises and starting the day. Usually most of the people over there would do. So what was your experience in Asia? Like what kind of techniques were people using, especially in their daily lives? Like how do you see the difference between the Asian way of living and the Western way of living, which is actually sitting, I think, sitting at the core of many mental and emotional health problems? Like, what's the biggest difference?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's a difficult question, and a lot of things may be put in this. But I was always interested into this diverse culture there. Why these people are not so into rush, like here, for example, in Poland? Why they're not so angry, for example, when the train is late 24 hours? Why they're not looking at the watch when they're waiting for the bus, but just waiting when the bus will be full of people, and then the bus, right? So I would say culture shock for me. I was learning the different way, very always shocking, new shocking approach when a person going first time to Asia, let's say India, right? So for many people, it's a cultural shock because they cannot understand that people can live in different ways. Or I was meeting a lot of Hong people at the train station in the New Delhi or in different places, and I was talking to them and asking, "Hey, is and is it okay?" And people were even smiling to me, right? And they were okay, covered with what I'm saying. Hey, this is the different.
Okay, everyone, we lost our friend, and I think he's going to come back. What he's telling us is very interesting, actually, about the difference between Asia. And if you have been, I have been to India, and I have been to many different places in Asia, and like Thailand and Bali and India, in Bhutan. And it's very interesting, actually. I mean, the way people live, the way people approach to life. And we can basically say, if you haven't ever been to Asia, we can just say the difference comes from, I think, the difference between understanding the importance of mental health, importance of emotional health. They are much more stronger mentally than many people, or spiritually, than many people in the Western culture. And that's why, although the Westerners, the Western culture, we seem to be, stronger physically, and we do fitness exercises, we train and we run, and we try to eat healthy or whatever, or, there is this whole health system going on supporting us, because we do not, or we haven't been able to get or understand the importance of mental and emotional health, and even on top of that, spiritual health. I believe that's the one reason why we have so many mental health problems, and also so many problems like aggression and fear and sadness and grief. Like, I see a lot of people nowadays who are experiencing burnout syndromes and really, feeling agitated during the day. I hear a lot of people who say, like, I feel like I'm suffocating, or I feel like, I'm totally lost, and I feel like there is no meaning in my life. These are all, it's kind of like if you feel an emptiness inside of you, or if you aren't mentally and emotionally strong, if you are someone getting triggered easily, emotionally triggered easily, for example, when you miss the bus, or when something goes wrong in your daily activities and you get triggered, that shows you and all of us that you aren't emotionally, mentally, and spiritually healthy, and you probably need some mental or spiritual or emotional practice. And breathwork sits on top of these practices, because breathwork not only physically supports us with daily breathwork. Of course, we increase the oxygen levels in our blood, we increase the oxygen levels in our cells regenerate faster, we get much more younger and stronger. So physically, it is easy to understand. But not only physically, but also emotionally, and also mentally and spiritually, breath is the bridge that connects us with the spiritual world. Breath is the bridge that connects us with healthy mental state. When our breath isn't balanced and when we are breathing dysfunctional, because of the chemical change in our body, because our respiration regulates our body fluid pH, our overall chemistry, whenever we are breathing dysfunctional, because it affects our respiratory chemistry, it affects our body fluid chemistry or our overall chemistry, pH levels, and we get either too alkaline or too acidic and start experiencing emotional symptoms of being acidic and alkaline. I usually teach my students that first in a breathwork training or in a breathwork certificate program. I think this is the most important thing to understand. All psychological issues, like all of these emotional getting triggered, or if you're not experiencing life in a balanced emotional state, if you lose it during the day, get into emotions get triggered, you are probably breathing dysfunctional, because emotional problems and psychological imbalances are chemical problems. And that's why psychiatrists or psychologists, whenever they want to heal someone, and it's hard to heal someone just with psychotherapy or basic methods, they also prescribe some medicine which do change their chemical state, because all emotions are, or all emotional triggers, or all psychological imbalances are chemical problems. That was what I was explaining to them. I usually start my trainings telling my students that respiration is the one thing that regulates our body fluid pH. Yeah. And whenever we're breathing dysfunctional, because our breathing affects our respiratory chemistry, changes our respiratory chemistry, and then changes our overall body fluid chemistry, we start experiencing emotional ups and downs, emotional imbalances, due to the imbalance actually in our respiration, due to the imbalanced chemistry in our body. And I was saying, actually, psychological problems are chemical problems, and they are very much related to how we are breathing, and we can manage them. And I also started the conversation when you were gone, just summarizing everything we talked about.
Sorry for disconnection.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, of course. And in Asia, we were talking like in Asia, because they do understand that physical health is mental health and mental health is physical health. What they've been doing with breathing and mentally and spiritually, like you said, India, it's a very spiritual community. So because they are very strong spiritually, they are also strong individuals mentally and physically. And that's an amazing shift. Like I also experienced that because I went to Nepal, India, Bhutan, Thailand. It's like, it's a whole different culture. And you see people, no matter which circumstances they are in, they are just happy and cool with it. And it's amazing to watch that. And then you come back here and people just get pissed off because they missed a bus, or they, something happened in the traffic.
Or for example, situation from now, I got first reaction was, the anger or something. And, but I just took a deep breath. Said, okay, disconnected. I tried to go back again, and so on. And it's just like breathe could be a very easy, way to go back to your homeostasis, to your I'll call it always such a neutral observator state. Sorry for interrupting, Nevşah.
Yeah, sure. And it takes just a couple of minutes, and from there I'm gonna go on to you with, like, how was your experience with the business environment, in the corporate environment, usually with people who have no idea about breath work and how breath work and breathing techniques can affect or help them. I'm going to ask you how your experience was with them.
Sure. Well, as you said, there is always a problem, especially from the from the business world, from the corporate world. When we're talking about breathing, everyone says, "But we are breathing. What's your problem? What's your case, Wojciech?" Here, and very often we taking this breathing for granted. So my goal is always to show people, hey guys, okay, let's take a step back. And I always started with stress because, as you also mentioned, breathing is correlated with our stress, and it influences, right? Stress influences our physical level, our emotional level, our psychological level, and our consciousness level. So I'll call it like these 3 levels. And breathing is it's like the natural tool which everyone have use right away to influence these 3 levels, to work on your stress, because it goes to these 3 levels, and you have to have used different techniques to get rid of it. So breathing is the easiest one. So I trying to show people on the simple cases, and I think always first or second exercise makes a difference. When people starting to breathing and they see, oh wow, I got so much energy, or wow, I just within 4 or 5 minutes I could relax my mind. And what I notice in different corporations, in different companies, working with leaders, with managers, with C-level people, very often it's like, there has to go to the wall, and something has to happen that they start thinking about it. And my goal is to show them prevention, show them simple tool which can help them to work on their mental health just right now, not tomorrow, just right now. You can do it. You just need a couple of minutes. And as you said, it's just change our state, right?
And don't wait for something bad to happen. And I think today our main message together is physical health is mental health, and mental health is physical health. And you say you're bringing human-centered technology into healthcare. Shall we talk more about this? Like, how do you do that? And what do you think about digital health products and devices?
Sure. Well, of course, if we do something for
Yeah, I think we're losing you again. Yeah, we're losing our host again. So my question was, what kind of digital health products do you use? Because he is also working on some digital health products like us. And now that I have time to speak on my own, we're also, as Breath Hub, working on certain devices that will help us analyze breathing habits even more. And I think when it comes to breathing, it is very important to understand that not one breathwork techniques works for all. So that's why certain devices and digital products are very important. Yeah, I was going to after that ask you what kind of digital products are you working on, and I'll leave it to you.
Sure. I mean, everyone uses laptops, using a mobile device, and so on. Just it's I think aware how important is force for example, watching Netflix or some different movies.
Yeah, I think we're losing him again because of the internet. Sorry for this happening today. Sometimes, technology goes wrong. Sometimes the internet. So as Breath Hub, we're also working on certain devices, because when it comes to breathing, not every breathwork technique works for all. I hear people talk about certain breathing techniques like, this is so effective, this is so good, this is just, it's like there is no such thing. It's not scientific. It's like I wouldn't suggest to any teacher or anyone speaking about a breathwork technique or a breathwork method of breathing as this is the best one, because it is not, because each and every individual have different breathing habits, and because no other team actually has our expertise and the depth of knowledge as the BreathUp team, breathing scientists from all around the world, we do understand that people don't have that depth. So that's like okay, but let's not talk about a technique or a method, as something good for everyone, because it isn't. Everybody, each and every individual have different breathing habits. And due to breathing habits, for example, people think diaphragmatic breathing works for everyone, but actually diaphragmatic breathing can be very, very harmful for some people, for people who are above average age, people who are already performance in life, people who have like heart problems, arrhythmia problems, or high blood pressure. Diaphragmatic breathing exercises can literally increase high blood pressure. They can increase the problem, arrhythmia problem. They can cause arrhythmia problem. They can increase heart problems. So for all of us, it is very important to analyze our breathing habits, become aware of our breathing, and go on customized journeys. Yeah, we were talking about the devices, so I'm going to leave it to you.
Sure. Sorry so much, Evge and the guys here. I don't know what's happening, but I have a huge problems with internet.
Yeah, it
yesterday
happens.
was okay.
We know
but
it
I was
happens.
Laughing today.
Yeah.
Happens, right? But I was laughing today that the universe did so many things to stop me today to talk to you. Like I didn't really. It's like it's a story for another maybe podcast, but not disconnect me. But yes, so I don't know. I'm not sure if you heard about the quality of going to sleep and waking up. It's important what you do before you going to sleep and what you do when you just wake up. Did you hear that? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so in this matter, right, when you're using like a mobile device, laptops or whatever, TV, just before sleep, it's drastically decrease our quality of sleep. And the same
exactly
when you wake up, right? When you just touch your phone as a first thing, and your phone is in the room when you're sleeping, be sure that you're not gonna start the day in a very good way, because you're all the time, for example, at work, you're all the time with the problems, right? Your brain is with these things which you just saw on the phone. I like this quotation of Jim Quick. To win a day, you need to win the first hour of the day, and I totally agree with that. Because also everything what I do, I'm testing on myself. So believe me, I was a huge fan of Netflix or HBO before sleep, but I changed it, and now I change how my sleep is good, and how good I feel when I wake up, even if I can sleep less hours. So, of course, mobile devices are not bad, but the way how we can use it might be bad, right? If it's too much or too long, or and so on. So I always say, just use it in a right way, but not to harm yourself.
Yeah, and also not even with the electronic devices. I think from life itself, life nowadays is very, very demanding.
Yeah.
Like even if you're not using a device, if you're living in a crowded city, in a major city, if you're busy the whole day, it's like life is very much demanding. Even at home, there is a lot of things going on.
Yes.
So learning to stop in between, maybe a few minutes in the morning, maybe a few minutes at night, maybe a few minutes in the like middle of the day, to just stop and breathe is very important. And you also said one thing very important, again, to go back to Asia, like people do understand, especially wise people I have met over the years, not only in Asia to focus on that, but all around the world, like really wise people are the people, or psychologically strong people are the people who are able to, whatever happens in their lives, people who are able to take a step back and just objectively look at the situation, and managing our breath, taking a couple of breaths, especially balancing the inhaling, exhaling, and just saying, okay, let's just stop, take a few breaths to just move back from whatever is happening, so that we can look at whatever is happening in an objective way, instead of getting triggered. Yeah, so it's like if you want to live a wise life, and if you want balance and success in all areas of life, it depends on this specific thing. What do you think about that? It's like
totally agreeing with you, because we live in the world of distractors, right? All the time, something is catching our attention. So it's difficult to to be within you, to be with yourself, to connect your brain with your body. Very often we talk on the phone, writing an email, right? Let's say multitasking. And also the scientists prove that multitasking actually doesn't exist. Only a couple of percent can do multitasking and being engaged in 100%, right? In these tasks. So this is another thing good to know that. And what you said, it actually reminded me very old story which I heard back in Asia 10 years ago about Chinese prisoners back into like 1,000 years ago. What was the toughest torture for a prisoner in China? You can guess. Okay, so watch out. They were cutting eyelaces, that the prisoner couldn't close his eyes.
Oh my goodness!
So
yeah, that's torture.
So he was, seeing a lot of things. His brain was, on a high level.
It is a torture.
In a very short period of time, he was just dying. And today, it's very brutal.
Wow.
Sorry, guys, for that. But this is how today scientists comparing us. We are this kind of people who have to adapt to the society where there's plenty of distractions, information.
Yeah.
So if
distractions are killing us. It's like distractions are killing people, and people don't notice that. And then there are all these burnout syndromes and people who can't go on anymore. It's like a lot of health problems, mental health problems. Yeah, that's an amazing example. It's like these distractions are killing us. Thank you very much. I think even though with the cutting in between, we are almost out of time because we have another podcast coming up in a few minutes. What I'm gonna also ask you, what's your last message, and what do you say to what do you want to tell our
one sentence from me? If you want to take care of your mental health, just start from breathing. If you control your breathing, you can control your life, and that's it. No more, no less.
Yeah, you can if you control your breathing, you control your life. You control your emotions, thoughts, how you behave, because you take a step. Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you very much. Maybe in the very near future we'll have you again as a guest.
So much.
And I'm looking forward to meeting with you in person.
The same here. Thank you so much. Take care, guys. Have a great day.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.